Hey fam, welcome to Southern Vowels. My name is Aaron Jamel, also known as Mr. Say I Do, and I'm glad you're here. I've been reflecting on the last 3 years of my life, and I realized something that honestly changed the way I see my season of singleness. When I first started dating intentionally, I thought God was preparing me for a wife. Looking back now, I think He was preparing me just to trust Him more. Those are two different lessons. And if I'm being honest, I didn't realize that until recently. 3 years ago, I put a lot of pressure on myself. I was trying to be the perfect man. I was trying to say everything right and do all the right things, handle every situation perfectly. Looking back, I made dating so much about me. Not because I was trying to be selfish, but because I thought if I was good enough, then everything would naturally work out. I also assumed something that many Christians assume. I thought if I'm a Christian and she's a Christian, then this should be smooth sailing. I couldn't have been more wrong. What I learned is that two people can say that they follow Christ and still be walking in two different directions. Our beliefs may sound familiar or similar, but our convictions, our priorities, our vision, and our surrender to God can look a bit different. I learned that compatibility isn't built on a label, it's built on walking towards Christ together. As I continued dating, God began revealing things that had nothing to do with the women I was meeting. He was revealing me. There was times where I overlooked red flags because I wanted things to work. There were moments where I didn't have clear standards because I haven't really fully developed them yet. And one of the hardest lessons I realized I can abandon myself trying to be everything someone else needed. And that's not because anyone asked me. It came from old wounds, from wanting to be chosen, from believing if I loved enough, gave enough, or sacrificed enough, then maybe the relationship would work. But God lovingly showed me something. He showed me that loving someone doesn't require losing yourself. Healthy love doesn't ask you to abandon who God is shaping you to become. There's one scripture that comes to my mind, and it's Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. I've read this verse many times, but over the past few years, I stopped seeing it as just good advice. I started living it because here is what I really was doing. I was trusting my timeline, my expectations, and my understanding of what relationships should look like. When those expectations weren't met, I became discouraged. But God kept reminding me, Aaron, trust me, not your understanding. Trust isn't simply just believing in God's existence. Trust is surrendering the outcome to Him, even when it doesn't unfold the way you expect it. Now, these past few years haven't been perfect. I made mistakes, I've learned hard lessons, but they have also been some of the most beautiful moments and years of my life. God has been healing my childhood trauma, my childhood wounds, restoring relationships, giving me vision, teaching me healthier boundaries, and showing me what real alignment looks like. And there's one thing that I discovered about myself is that one of my strengths is that I mean what I say. But one of my weaknesses is that I don't always say what I mean with clarity and authority. God is still growing me in that because healthy relationships require both truth and love, not one without the other. If you're single today, maybe you've been asking God the wrong question. When will you bring the right person? Now, that's not a bad prayer. That's not a bad ask to the Lord. But maybe there's another question that's worthy of asking Him. Lord, what are you trying to teach me as I wait? Because sometimes God doesn't immediately change our circumstances, He changes us within them. Looking back, I can honestly say, God didn't just teach me how to date, He taught me how to trust Him. And I believe learning to trust Him is one of the greatest preparation for any relationship we'll ever have. So this week, don't rush past the season you're in. Ask God to reveal what He's growing in you because His greatest work may not be bringing someone into your life, it may be transforming your heart to look more like Christ. All right, until next time, leave a comment, like, If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Remember to keep on keeping on, and I'll see you at the top.